Well, hey everybody, it's Sandy, and welcome back to my channel dedicated to helping you advocate for your own health, one topic at a time. Okay, guys, so today is day 4 check-in. I'm actually at the beginning of day 4. I started feeling symptoms in the evening, and it was actually really late at night, so I'm not really sure when to count the beginning of day 0, because your first day of symptoms is day 0. So it was sometime very late Saturday night, and therefore I started my Paxlovid actually just shy of the 2-day mark because I started the Paxlovid on Monday evening, but I would have had to like stay up late or whatever to wait till I got to that mark or wait longer. So I just went ahead and took it in the evening on Friday before dinner. But anyway, so today, day 4, I'm feeling significantly better than yesterday. And I woke up this morning, now I've had 4 doses of Paxlovid. Of course, by the time I woke up this morning, I'd only had 3, and I woke up this morning feeling significantly better than yesterday. So it kind of peaked yesterday, and now it's getting better. Um, so I do think the Paxlovid is starting to work and kick in. Um, I'm still, like, praying for no rebound, so I wanna talk about that a little bit because I talked yesterday in the video, and you guys can watch that video or look at the discussion in the Facebook group, and I just wanna say that, I saw a lot of the comments about it, and I guess what I wanna clarify is that I'm not saying this notion of delaying taking Paxlovid until at least day 2 uh, is a good idea or not a good idea. I'm saying that I think it's shown itself to be a very solid hypothesis and a good starting place for more study. Whether you want to follow it, that's another story. I did. Okay, well, almost, because like I said, I was actually just shy of the day 2 mark, but I'm hoping it was close enough because I meant to. Um, I think it makes sense in terms of, preventing rebound, at least the explanations that I have read for it, and I felt like the risk to me was minimal, because 2 days is still well within that 5-day window. It's in the early end of that 5-day window, in terms of getting the replication under control. Now, definitely there are some public health concerns either way. So there are some great arguments for just starting the Paxlovid immediately because, of course, the sooner you stop the viral replication, that's what it's meant to do. The sooner you can start, feeling better. And yeah, that's obvious. And from a public health standpoint, you're not shedding whatever, but, you really should be isolating at that point. On the other hand, the small observational study that I had referenced was very interesting because it was, in some ways, even though it was small and observational, it was better than the huge study that was done to show that ended up showing that rebound is really rare, whether you take Paxlovid or not, and it's about the same. That study relied on medical records, and if people's initial infection isn't in medical records often enough, which is the case, it's not. Think about rebound. How many people like report that to their doctors or even test? And interestingly, in the observational study, the way they defined rebound was viral load. It was based on viral load. It wasn't based on people's symptoms. And what they found was a lot of people who were rebounders didn't even know it because even though they were symptomatic with the infection, they were asymptomatic. And this study was conducted by swabbing people every so many days for a certain number of days, no matter what their symptoms. And what they found is there was very little rebound in people who do not take Paxlovid, and there's about a 20% rebound overall in people who do take Paxlovid. And those numbers fanned out where they were all past the 2-day mark. So anybody who took Paxlovid before the 2-day mark was more likely to have rebound. And the people who waited till after the 2-day mark, there was no rebound. Again, these are very small studies. My guess is a scatter graph would show, a few outliers here and there if this was repeated and shown to be true on a larger scale. But I think at a very minimum, it's very much worthy of study. So anyway, I'm hoping for no rebound, obviously. I'll deal with it if I have to, but so far I'm encouraged that things are looking better. So I did mention yesterday I had a lot of GI distress. Oh my God. I don't know. It might have actually been partly the guaifenesin I was taking, the expectorant to thin secretions, which is usually very helpful, like Mucinex or Robitussin, whatever. But that's meant to thin all kinds of things. So I guess I wonder if theoretically it can, cause some diarrhea or loose stool. Um, my doctor was thinking it was the Paxlovid. I was thinking it was the disease. It was hard to tell. Last time around when I had COVID, it actually started with I had diarrhea before I ever started Paxlovid, so I knew it was the disease. And so when I saw it appear this time, I kind of sensed it was probably the disease, but again, it started after I'd already started Paxlovid. I think it is showing itself to be the disease because now, 36 hours into the Paxlovid, that seems to be clearing up. So I'm really grateful for that because that's like a big added burden. Um, so the other thing I want to mention is like I hadn't even talked about this, but the biggest problem with this, the timing, is that I had told you guys that we had a death in the family, and it was actually my father-in-law. So my husband just lost his dad. I've lost both my parents already, and my husband, this was the first parent he lost. My husband is 64, so he was, fortunate enough to have his dad all these years. But it's very, very hard to lose your parent. And while I'm glad my husband didn't get infected, we're isolated from each other. So it's just really unfortunate that I can't really be with him at all while he's going through this phase, So it's been not quite 2 weeks since my father-in-law passed away. Now, on the other hand, I would hate for him to be sick and bereaved. That would be just very hard. I know somebody that's happening to right now. Um, but honestly, the sooner I test positive and we can, be together, the better that's going to be for all kinds of reasons. And looking back, I don't think I got it while we were actually traveling. We came home and there were a couple of friends here at home that had lost loved ones. This was just a really bad couple of weeks. And we went to a couple of services, and there was actually a memorial for my husband's father. But one of those services was actually huge. It was like 200 people, and all these others have been really small. And my husband actually said, should I go out in the car and get masks? But it was kind of already quiet, and the clergy was speaking already. And I didn't want to make that kind of public statement of leaving and coming back, although I was really sorry I hadn't brought one. And the person behind me was coughing, and she sounded like it wasn't like a cough, like allergy cough. It sounded like she was getting over something, and it was a reactive cough that like it got started and worked up. And um, so we actually slid down like a few seats, but um, I'm pretty sure that was it. The timing was right. That was like Wednesday night, and it was late Saturday night that I started, getting the sore throat and the post sinus drip. And if I'm really thinking about it, I actually had some really unusual GI symptoms on Wednesday evening, earlier in the evening. Like I had some really bad indigestion from something that really shouldn't have caused that. And I wonder if my GI tract was already just starting to get worked up and it was just too subtle for me to pick up on. But I kind of wasn't feeling great. Um, starting late Saturday evening. But after dinner, my GI tract was not feeling well at all. So anyway, I am glad that it's so much better today. I don't know how I sound. I think I sound better, but I think also the voice issue is something that takes a while to get better. That's like a switch that got flipped. I think it's about, swelling on the vocal cords and irritation in the airway. And like once that's happened, it just takes a while for that inflammation to come down. So my experience has been that even with colds, I kind of sound like this for a while once I get raspy. Um, I still have a little bit of that throat clearing, and I'm not coughing too much, but I do have a dry cough. Like when it gets started, I can have a coughing fit that gets pretty uncomfortable. But then it resolves, and it's so far, I don't want to jinx myself, but so far those are few and far between. I've been able to sleep at night, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So yeah, all things said, I think this is very good. I'm going to continue to update you guys, and I'm particularly um, my population sample of one, gonna look at whether I have rebound, and I'll certainly report that if I do, and talk to you guys about what that's like. Fortunately, I didn't have that the last time. Now, last time I started Paxlovid somewhere between days 2 and 3. And yeah, my husband didn't have any rebound either last time. So I'm hoping for the best. Now, I do think my immune system got a pretty good look at this and a pretty good start based on just the inflammation that I do have. That's obvious. So, let's hope for the best. For those of you who talked about Paxlovid in the Facebook group, I know that in some countries it's banned, I guess, or it's very controlled. I think that people from Canada and somebody from Sweden were saying this, but, I just wanna throw this out there. I don't really know that Paxlovid is I don't really think Paxlovid is causing any, like, widespread damage. Now, for people who have kidney disease already, there is a different dose of Paxlovid they have to take, and there's actually a whole different blister pack of pills that's, already at market for people who have renal or kidney disease. And certainly if you're taking certain medications, there's kind of a risk benefit analysis you have to do with your doctor. Some medications you have to come off and wait, a little while before you take the Paxlovid, but we're not seeing here in the United States like all kinds of kidney damage or anything from Paxlovid. And I just wonder if some of these healthcare systems, like socialized medicine has its problems, our medical system has its problems. I'm not, trying to get into a whole tit for tat thing. But I'm just wondering if one of the issues is in a system where things are so controlled like that and the costs are sort of managed across an entire population, that might kind of contribute to a situation where they're just not recommending something like this because it's very expensive, and that just might make it harder to get. So I know lots of people have taken Paxlovid here in the United States, and I personally don't know of anybody that's had a problem with Paxlovid. I'm always conscious of that. I'm always worried. There's always, side effects and issues that you can have with drugs, but fortunately it seems to be that this stuff is relatively uncommon. Watch me eat my words in a couple days, but I'm doing okay so far. Yeah, but I just wanted to mention that and see if I threw that out there, see what people think about that, if anybody has any ideas about that. And okay, so I'll check in again tomorrow. I think I'm actually going to go out for a walk today. I tried that yesterday and I got like a halfway around the block and I was like, oh no, I'm so tired. I was kind of easily winded, but interestingly, I have not been napping at all during the day. I stay up the whole day and I just sleep at night. So I think that's good. I'm fully prepared to feel tired later because that's what happened to me last time. So I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. So until next time, be well. Bye-bye.